So I just got done watching the new Velma show, and I definitely have some thoughts on it. Velma is the latest entry in the whole Scooby-Doo metaverse, and it has a lot of fans angry at it. But is all the anger and hate justified though? Let's talk about it. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. All the characters are nothing like the characters that we all know and love. Besides the obvious race swap stuff, they all act completely different. Fred is a big dumb man-child who hasn't even gone through puberty yet at the age of like 16. Like seriously, they mention Fred has a tiny dong like every single chance they get. They hate Fred in this show. Shaggy, Norville, is an annoying simp who goes out of his way to tell you just how much he hates drugs. Daphne is just your typical high school mean girl from like literally every Netflix movie ever. And Velma, oh, she is just a super stuck-up, judgmental know-it-all. I mean, like, she's always been like that, but it's like cranked up to 1,000,000 in this show. Not to mention the show doesn't even have Scooby-Doo in it. How are you gonna have a Scooby-Doo show without Scooby-Doo? That's probably why they named it Velma. That makes so much sense. But despite all that, it can't be that bad, right? Well, to start off, they make it very clear that's an adult show because the very, very first scene in this show is Daphne running around naked in the women's locker room with a bunch of other girls talking about sex. Now, personally, I actually think that an adult Scooby-Doo show could work since, you know, Scooby-Doo's hardcore fans are all like old now, but definitely not under these writers. For some reason in this iteration, Daphne and Velma are mortal enemies because Daphne ditched Velma to go hang out with a bunch of other cool, popular girls. Ooh. So they're pretty much at each other's throats the whole first episode. And Velma ends up opening her locker and just a dead girl falls out without a brain. Like her head falls off, there's no brain inside. And yeah, that's the big mystery for this season. Everyone assumes Velma did it since, you know, it's kind of her locker. And this forces Velma to try to solve the mystery because, you know, she doesn't want to go to jail. She can't go back. There's one slight problem though. She has some serious PTSD, which makes it hard for her to even say the word mystery. So when Velma was little, she found her Christmas presents early and she felt like she ruined Christmas. So her mom went out to go get a present she can open on Christmas Day, like the absolute giga chad of a mom she is, but she never came back. So now Velma has these really, really dumb hallucinations every time she even thinks about a mystery. Fred ends up being the prime suspect of the murder because he has the camera that belongs to the dead girl in his room. So naturally, a bunch of cops come in, shoot him in the kneecaps, and take him to jail. A 16-year-old. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And that's pretty much the entirety of episode 1. Episode 2 was a little better in my opinion, but not very much. The episode is about defending Fred since he's definitely innocent. At least, I hope. I actually wouldn't put it past the writers to make Fred guilty because they've just been assassinating my man Fred this whole entire series. But this episode is also where the Daphne and Velma romance starts, but it starts in like the dumbest way possible. So Daphne somehow finds a file that has all the information about Velma's mom on it, and she says she'll give it to Velma for a small price of $500. Velma doesn't have that kind of money, so what does Daphne do? She makes Velma sell drugs with her. Oh yeah, they're selling drugs together. I also find it funny how the drugs are named after their catchphrases. So Zoinks, Jeepers, and Jinkies are all the names of the drugs. And they end up getting caught by Daphne's police moms, and this is where the romance happens. So Daphne literally grabs Velma's hand to pick her up because she tripped when they were running from the cops, and they both get like anime level flustered and googly eyed just because they touched hands. Like, what? I wish it was that easy in real life. I guess it turns out all the tension between the two was just really, really built up sexual tension. And then later, Velma gets another really weird hallucination, and Daphne ends up kissing her to snap her out of it. So they are 100% getting together. I wish they would have done it just a little better. On the other side, Fred is trying to convince everyone that he's innocent. And the way that they do this is to make everyone believe that Fred is a child. I am not joking when I say they are murdering my man's Fred character. He apparently can't cut a steak by himself, he can't bathe himself, and he can't even get himself up on top of a bunk bed by himself. So the court finds him innocent since he literally acts like a 5-year-old. But Fred says some really dumb shit and says he could have killed her if he wanted to because he's a big boy. And they throw him in jail after that. Oh yeah, and if you're wondering why I haven't really said anything about Norville, it's because he does literally nothing the first 2 episodes besides simp for Velma. That's it. He has like 3 minutes of screen time probably across 2 episodes that are like 30 minutes each. So would I recommend you watch Velma? I'm kind of mixed about it, honestly. Don't get me wrong, it's not good by any means, but it's not the worst thing in the world. That's probably going to be a little controversial, but I truly believe that. I would say at best it is mildly entertaining. Most of the jokes didn't really land for me. They were kind of all really, really bad. Except for like maybe 2 or 3, but I didn't really laugh at them. I just kind of like slightly exhaled from my nose a little bit. So this might be a little bit generous, but I would give Velma so far a 5 out of 10. I'll watch the rest of the series because it's Scooby-Doo and I've loved Scooby-Doo since I was like 3, but I'm not like clamoring for the next episode to come out. And I'm 90% sure this show is getting canceled right after it's done with the first season. So I'd say if you're a hardcore Scooby fan, probably skip this for your own mental sanity. And go watch What's New Scooby-Doo or Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated or Scooby-Doo and Guess Who. That would probably make your day a lot better.